Welcome back to the Avenue, and I am so glad you're here today. And what do we like to do? It's a new year. And what do we like to do in New Year? We like to make New Year's resolutions. And what we're going to talk about today is the number one New Year's resolutions people are making these days. And let me just give you a little hint. It's not about weight loss. Stay tuned. Now, I know what some of you all are saying. I don't make New Year's resolutions. I personally don't make New Year's resolutions. Now, I do have goals and things that I'm going to change for the year coming in, which I start in December. December 1st is when I start. But as far as these New Year's resolutions, there's a lot of people that still make New Year's resolutions. People are having vision parties, vision board parties, and all of this going into the new year. And so I wanted to do some research on this word called resolutions. And I'm going to read to you what the definition of a resolution is. It's pretty serious. It says a resolution is a firm decision or determination to do or not do something. It often refers to a goal or commitment made to bring about a change, improvement, or a specific outcome, such as adopting new habits, achieving personal or professional objectives, or resolving a conflict. Resolutions are commonly associated with the start of a new year, but can be made at any time to reflect intentional decision-making action. That's what a resolution is. So you resolve to do something, take an action in that way. You're going to do something that you haven't done before or resolve an issue that you have going on. This is the New Year's resolutions that people make. They put out all kinds of things. Now, I gave you a hint that the number one New Year's resolution is what we're going to talk about. It is not about weight loss. The number one New Year's resolution that people have been making for the past 2 years, I believe, but especially this year, is to save more money. Imagine that. Now, before we get too deep into this, I'm going to give you the top 3 New Year's resolutions that people made for 2025. Like I said, there were several polls that I went out on, and the polls were the same as far as the number one New Year's resolutions. Now, the percentages were slightly different, but the number one New Year's resolution was people, as far as Americans are concerned, wanted to save more money this year in the year of 2025. So that was the first and the biggest New Year's resolutions, and the percentages behind that was people anywhere from 21 to 26% of Americans pledged or resolved to save more money. From 19 to 22% resolved, this is number 2, to eat healthier. And last, from 18 to 22%, depending on which poll you looked at, the resolution was to exercise more in the year of 2025. Now, I'm real familiar with the exercise because, I go to the gym on a regular basis. And the 2 months that I hate most of the year is January and February. After mid-February, people kind of trail off and you don't see them anymore. But, a lot of people pledge that they're going to go to the gym. You can see them coming in at the end of the year, walking around with the salespeople, looking at the machines, and they're signing them up for this and signing them up for that. And they're pulling out the credit cards and paying for this throughout the year. They may be on a month to month, and you may be up under a contract when it comes to that you cannot get from up under. But I have to suffer with people coming in that's not going to stay. If they would stay, we could expand the gym and have more machines to work out on, more treadmills, more elliptical, all these machines. But they're going to crowd the machines for the first month and a half so that I can't get on the machine that I want any time of day that I want to go in. I have to shift my schedule for early mornings. And sorry that you got to hear about this rant, but I have to shift my schedule for early mornings where I know that I can get on the machine and get my workout done and get out of there. But sometime up until late February, early March, then it'll get back to normal and people stop coming to the gym. But the number one New Year's resolution is to save more money. One other stat that I want to throw out to you is that 92% of the people will not meet their resolutions, whatever the resolution is. they will not meet the resolution. They'll fall off the bandwagon sometime, usually in January. But like I said, for the gym people, it's about mid to late February that they just stop coming, or come every now and then. But that daily routine of whatever they thought they were going to do is going to stop. Some of them 100% stop coming, and they're just paying the gym fee for no reason whatsoever because they don't occupy any time in the gym. Now let's talk about this savings more money in the year of 2025. We know that money does not solve all problems, but money does solve money problems. Money also gives you options. If you had the option of getting this pair of glasses over this pair of glasses, and one of them was a better quality, one of them had tint maybe on them, would help your eyes more, that type of thing, you would probably go for the higher quality. When it comes to health issues or something like that, we're going to go for the higher quality when it comes to that. But on other things, we may not go to such of a higher quality. But if you don't have the money to purchase that, you don't have that option. So money has its purpose, and it has its good things about it, but it does not solve every problem. But if it is a money problem, money will solve that problem. So saving is a good thing, you all. Saving is a great thing. Budgeting is a good thing. Emergency fund is a good thing, but saving is an excellent thing to do. And we're going to go over some of those reasons why you may want to consider making this maybe not a New Year's resolution, but focusing on this for this year of 2025. The number one reason that you want to consider saving money is for peace of mind. You can sleep easier at night when you know you have some type of security or stash of funds somewhere, that if something were to go awry, an emergency come up, that you have the funds to go ahead and pay for that emergency, or pay for most of the emergency. There are people last year that I talked to about being depressed because of money issues. They couldn't make ends meet. Something happened and they had to put something aside in order to funnel money toward that area. So peace of mind, getting your rest at night, this can even hurt your health. It can hurt your health. You can have stress, be stressed out about it, not being able to sleep. It's wearing on your health when you have money problems such as this, that if you were to save a little, put some funds aside for emergencies, put some funds aside for if you know you're going to have some repairs coming up on the car, you're going to have to get some tires replaced, the battery's getting ready to go out, the refrigerator's on its last leg. These are things, signals that you need to start saving money for this type of thing to cover, not necessarily to go on a trip with the girls or to go buy something. Save for the things that can keep you up at night. Not going on a trip with the girls, not going to keep you up at night. But if something were to go wrong and you have to pull out that credit card or wonder, where am I going to get this money to pay for this? I wasn't expecting this. Now it's happened. I don't have the money. So savings is a good thing. And that's one reason you may want to consider saving, simply for peace of mind. Moving right along. Next up, we have freedom and flexibility. If you have a stash saved somewhere of a certain amount of money, you have the freedom to make different choices, and you have the flexibility because you're not restrained by finances. If something comes up and you want to do something and you have that money sitting there, you can make a decision and be free to make that decision because you're not borrowing, you're not taking out a credit card and charging. You have the money available and it's your decision. You can be flexible with your choices. However, if you don't have the savings, you don't have the freedom to say yes, because you're going to have to figure out, how am I going to pay for this? What am I going to do to get the money to do this? But as opportunities come up, as trips come up, just things come up in life that you want to do to live a little better, a richer life, you have that, and you can do that if you have some money saved to do that. I have an emergency fund for myself. I have an emergency fund for my rental properties, because if something were to come up, last year, a hot water heater went out in one of my rental properties. And the last time I had to replace it was probably about 10 to 12 years ago. And at that time, water heaters were about $1,500, right? This year, when he came out, and I called a guy, it's very reliable, to come out and look at it. He said, well, it's old. We could repair it for $600, or we can replace it. I cannot guarantee how long the repairs are going to last, because there were several things wrong with it. And I said, you know what, it's old enough, let's just replace it. And it cost me $2,100 to replace that water heater. And I replaced it, but I had a stash of funds, emergencies for stuff like that to happen. And so my tenant didn't have to miss a beat. I think they had cold water for maybe 2 days till I could get somebody out there and get it replaced. But it was done. He was so grateful that it happened. But these are the kind of things that I can sleep well at night, because I don't have to worry about if something were to happen that I'm not going to have the funds to get it repaired or fixed. Here in my home, the same way. But this can keep you, have a peace of mind at night, and then be flexible with things that you can do. I don't have to say, oh, let me just get the repairs done for $600 because I don't have the rest of the money to buy a water heater, or I didn't want to put it on my credit card. But you have the flexibility to do things and the freedom to make sound decisions that's going to make sense in the future. It's not just for right now, but it's sound decisions that will make sense in the future. So keep this in mind with the flexibility and the freedom to do different things, because it is nice to be free to do other things. I know the number one resolution is to save more this year, but I want you to have a mini resolution to hit that like button and that subscribe button so that you can stay up to date on the latest information as I'm bringing it to you. And make a comment. Did you make a resolution this year, or did you not make a resolution, but you have some goals you want to focus on? Comment, let me know what your resolution is. And is your resolution to save more money along with the 22% of other Americans that decided that this is what they wanted to do? This was their top priority this year, was to save more money. The next reason that you want to save that will be beneficial to you and your family is for goals. There are some things that you and your family probably have set down to decide this is the direction we want to go in. You may be in an apartment and you decided that, hey, I want to get a house. Or you may be in an apartment and you decided I want to get a rental property, live a duplex, live in one side of it, and then rent out the other side. You may have a trip that you want to go on overseas. You may have a car that you want to buy. You may have various things. For me, I wanted to put a fence around my property, and so I saved for that. And that's going to come into play real soon here, because I've got the money for it, and it's just a matter of getting them out here to do it. But there were goals that I had in mind that I did not want to charge for. So if I just simply save the money for them, when you save the money for a trip, you go on that trip, you enjoy yourself, spend the money like you saved, come back, and you don't have to worry about paying off plane flights, hotels. You don't have to worry about the next couple of months or the next year of paying all this stuff off that you've already enjoyed, and may hinder you from going on future trips because you're still paying for the old stuff. That's something that you want to consider. But if you save for it and have that money available and it's within that savings amount, just earmark the money for that. And once it's within that amount, then you can go and do the things that you want to do. But you've saved for it, and you don't have to worry about not having the money, not having fun, making different choices when you go on a trip, not being able to splurge the way you want to because you don't know how you're going to pay for the trip. Then all of a sudden, when it's time to eat, you just get salads or whatever because you don't want to overspend as far as eating while everybody else is enjoying themselves with the food. So take this in mind, but having goals out there is another reason that you want to save money. Next up, we have retirement. If you've not retired, like some of us have retired, you want to save for retirement, because saving up front as soon as you possibly can, the younger, the better, because you can retire almost at record speed these days, you all. Put the money up front, save as much as you possibly can, and you can get out of that company or retire early if you have enough money saved, or retire to something else, retire to a business or whatever you dreamed of. You can do that, but you have to save for it up front, invest it correctly where it will grow over time, and then you will have that money available for you. But if you sit around and, consume all the money and then wait till, well, let me get 30, let me get 35 before I start saving, you're extending your retirement time if you one day want to retire. And retirement means different things to different people. It doesn't necessarily mean you stop completely and not do anything, sit in a rocking chair on the front porch. That's not what retirement is these days. Retirement is getting out of a job and doing the things that you want to do. If you want to go work somewhere else, if you want to consult, if you want to do different things, go do something with your hobbies, have a side hustle, or spend time with the grandkids, move around, travel the world, whatever you want to do that defines your retirement, you can do that once you start saving money for it. So have a purpose for all your savings. People just don't save just to say I'm saving. They have a purpose for these savings. And once you hit the goal that you want to make, then you can move on that purpose that you've had in mind for that money. Now, last but not least, probably the most important reason to save is to stay out of debt. You do not want to get into debt because once you borrow money from a credit card company or a bank loan, anything like that, you're paying interest to rent that money. So you have the money, but you're renting it from someone. So you have to pay interest to them. So basically, and if you get the money and buy something that depreciates, you're buying something that's going down in value, then you're paying interest to pay for something that's going down in value, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but maybe to some people it does. But it's a depreciating asset. Like a car, buying a vehicle. If you don't pay cash for it and you buy a vehicle, you're paying that interest and it's going down in value. So you're doubly losing your money. So just be careful of that. But that's the number one reason, or one of the best reasons to save, is that you won't get into debt and start paying these banks. Banks love it. They're in the business of lending you money so that they can make a ton of interest off of you. That's how they make their money. The little savings that you have there and the little bit that they give you on interest, if you have one of these big bank companies such as Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Chase Bank, they give you very little in interest for having your money in their bank. But when you put your money in their bank, they take your money and lend it to other folks and charge them 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14% interest. If you have a credit card, you're paying interest on those charges also if you don't pay it off every month. So consider this as far as having savings and buying things with the money that you've saved up instead of running to debt as your first option when it comes to purchasing items. So staying out of debt is a great reason to have a savings. And so hopefully you have some idea of what your number one resolution is for this year. But just know most of America, a large majority percentage, that is the number one resolution for the year of 2025 is to save more money. If I have at all convinced you to take on the task of saving more money this year, great. You're welcome. But the thing that I want to tell you, a couple of things that you want to think about and methods that you can use to save more money is you can set yourself a percentage, such as you're going to save 10%, save 5% of your check every time you get paid. Just send it somewhere in a different account than the account that you spend out of. Or you can say a dollar amount. I'm going to save $200 or $250 out of each check that I get every 2 weeks. You can do it like that. Or you can have a part-time job or a side hustle, and you can say to yourself, for the first 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, I'm going to save the money that I made from this side hustle. Just put it aside and let it build up, and put it in a high-bearing interest account, which will be an online account. That way, once you put the money in savings, it will be working the most for you. It will be gaining you the most interest. And of course, the more money you put in there, the more interest that you will gain. But if it's going to be for a short-term savings that you're going to pull it out and buy something, I would not recommend you put it in the stock market, but put it into a high-yielding savings account, which are one of the ones that's online. And I've already done a video. I'm going to update that video because interest rates have changed now since the Fed have dropped interest. And I know on some of my accounts, they've been going down, down, and down. So I want to update that to give you all the latest and the highest banks that you can get this interest from. And with that, I will see you in the next video.